Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Today, we will have our second installment for our guest speaker series. Today, we are fortunate enough to have our talk about the Addictions and Community Services Worker Program. My name is Vivian Allen. I am the Regional Career Services Manager for Alberta. And today we have with us our special guest, Jamie Tweedy. He is going to talk about all about his expertise, first in the world of healing centers and then his role as a parole officer with Buffalo Sage Wellness House, Dan Daniels Healing Center, which are all part of the Native Counselling Services of Alberta. He's going to offer some valuable perspectives into the industry, which includes professions like support workers, primary care workers, intake managers, and so much more. So in this interactive session, we're hoping that you can learn something a little bit more about the program and the industry, and maybe ask some of those burning questions that you've been wanting to ask a professional that's already in the field. So I'm going to just take a few moments and just introduce you to a few of these faces that you see here on your screens before we get rolling. So please welcome Pamela Bavra. She's one of our Assistant Director of Admissions. She works with all new students and can answer any of those new student questions that you have. Of course, our special guest for the session, Jamie Tweedy. So we will go over that. Our agenda today is going to be exactly what you see on the screen. So we'll talk about why you choose CDI College and what all of that entails. We'll chat with our guest speaker, Jamie. We have a bit of a bio on him, and he'll let you know a little bit more about himself and his industry. And then we will talk about the Native Counselling Services of Alberta. So not only will he tell us about himself, he'll tell us a little bit about what he does for his job, and then we'll talk about a few job opportunities, and then lastly we'll open it up for any questions and answers that you may have, like a Q&A. So let's get rolling. Okay, so Pamela, will you introduce yourself and then tell everyone about who we are as a college?
Perfect. So my name is Pamela. I work in the admissions department, as Vivian had just mentioned, here at CDI College as an assistant director of admissions. My job essentially is to sit down with a whole bunch of people, whole bunch of students on a daily basis, either virtually or in person, and I go through the programs and the requirements needed in order to enter our program here. So why choose CDI College? Choosing a college is a really big decision, and you have all taken the first step, of being here today, and seeing what educational opportunities are available to you. So finding the right school, and program to achieve those educational and career goals is essential. CDI College, we strictly offer accelerated programs meant to get your career, get you into the career that you want. The classes here are generally 4 hours per day, and our length for any of our programs, they vary anywhere from 6 months to 17 months max, with no wait list needed. So CDI College, we do believe in small classes for more student-focused environments. Students at CDI College, we do receive hands-on training. The delivery modes can range from on campus to online for a combination of both of these as well. So your education here will have full support staff to assist them on their journey, from registration, education, post-graduation. Support staff includes student advisors, student financial planners. We also have a student service manager, practicum coordinators, and employment specialists as well.
Awesome.
So, some different misconceptions about addictions, community service worker, and their fields is that, that addictions may lack a sense of willpower or maybe lacking self-discipline. The one thing that I love about our program here for Addictions and Community Service program, Addictions and Community Service Worker, is that our strong curriculum does provide a deep understanding on how people do develop addictions and also mental health problems. So we really dig into that root cause.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam. Yeah, that's super important. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. So nice to clear up at least one of those and try to get it straight for everybody. So that's awesome. Thanks, Pam. Alrighty. So we'll cut to the chase and get right to the main event. So I'd like to introduce to you our guest speaker today, Jamie Tweedy, who works in our I want to say addiction and community services industry, but I feel like it's so much more than that. So, Jamie, will you introduce your own self rather than me butcher it, and we can get things started.
Yeah, I'm Jamie Tweedy. Can you all hear me fine? I think that is yes. So I'm a parole officer at Stan Daniels Healing Center, which is a healing lodge for Indigenous offenders, but we also take individuals that want to walk the traditional path of the Indigenous life and learn about Indigenous roots and ceremony. A little bit about myself, my past. I've worked for Stan Daniels for the last 7 years. From 2022 to 2023, I worked for EPS's Victim Services in secondment. Excuse me. And then when I returned to Stan Daniels, I worked as a operations manager to the living unit, which oversees the primary workers, which is the security side of our facility. And then a few months ago, back in October, I transitioned over to the parole team to learn that side of the work that we do so that I could just better assist our gentlemen. So when people hear the term healing lodge, a lot of times people think, oh, that's some type of like spa or a resort, and it's really not the case at all. Healing lodge is for Indigenous offenders or individuals within the correctional facilities across Canada that want to follow a traditional healing path that is overseen by elders and people like myself within the healing lodge centers. There are 10 healing lodges across Canada, 4 of which that are overseen by Corrections Canada, and then 6 that are overseen by independent operators that connect through corrections. The work that we do at Stan Daniels works towards healing the individual from the inside out, because our offenders, they have past traumas too, just like the rest of us. And some of those past traumas may have been historical in nature from things like the 60s scoop, residential schooling, abuse. And these kinds of traumas may have created a lot of interconnected traumas, as well as negative feelings such as guilt, shame, doubt, low self-esteem, which then may have led them to abuse substances. And this is substance abuse may subsequently lead to their offenses. Okay. Now, the combination of substance abuse and offending are commonly learned behaviors from past traumas, which are inflicted upon them. This in itself creates what is known as a victim-offender overlap. And so a large majority of the individuals that we deal with have been victimized prior to them being an offender. And they may have been a victim of verbal, physical, or even sexual abuse, which becomes a cyclical effect within their psyche to create other traumas and have them create traumas on others. To deal with these past traumas that they have, we utilize things such as traditional ceremonies, elders, teachings. We have programs based on traditional teachings in an effort to work deeply within the person to really get to the root of why they went down that path. And so a lot of the programs that they deal with are difficult. They're not easy at all. They make them look at their past, why they offended, what traumas they may have incurred, and what traumas they may have caused to other people. And it's a lot of emotionally challenging work that they have to do in order to better themselves to move forward in life. And essentially that's what our sites are for. The healing lodges are to help bridge that gap for our Indigenous offenders that are in the correctional system, to help them get back to traditional roots and to be able to heal from the traumas that have been created on them, as well as that they have created on to others. It's a lot of work, but it is necessary work to kind of stop the intergenerational trauma that Indigenous peoples are suffering from. So the work that our gentlemen do at Stan Daniels and that our ladies do at Buffalo Sage is really important. And so the staff that we have, whether they have an addictions background or background like myself, where I was a photographer, professional photographer, still am, and I worked as a civil engineer. Like, people that walk different paths are able to see different ways of assisting the people that we have. Within our facility, we have a diverse group of individuals that help to motivate and support our residents to progressing with their life. And essentially that's our work there. It's rewarding, and it's helps serve a large portion of our community to maintain safety. I don't have a lot to say more than that, because I think that it's being a more interactive setting. It'll be more beneficial to have questions in regards to the work that we do, as opposed to me just talking at you. Okay. So
Good. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. There's a lot of information about the industry, but yeah, like Jamie said, if you have those questions, let's make it more interactive and get all of that thrown at him so that he could be put on the spot. So here we go. I do want to touch on a couple of topics and questions, if that's okay. And hopefully we can get some of those questions out of the way. So Jamie and I spoke a little bit beforehand, and at the Stan Daniels and at Native Counselling Services, they're called primary workers. So we're used to the addictions and community services worker, but what does a primary worker actually do within your industry, or I guess your organizations?
So a primary worker essentially, at our site specifically, they deal with more of the security side of the work, but they wear a lot of different hats. They will be caseworkers. They'll do reporting on our gentlemen, meet with their caseloads and discuss where they're at, things that they want to work on, assist them with getting them referrals, as well as connected to different outside organizations and services so that they can have a beneficial movement forward. Across corrections specifically, primary worker is essentially a correctional guard. And it's just a different terminology used within corrections. So where you have like the Edmonton Remand Center, you'll have a correctional service officer 1 or 2. In the healing lodges for corrections, it's a primary worker, which essentially is a correctional officer 2.
Okay. Well, that sounds really broad, so that's good. It's a lot. Okay, so let's skip through. excuse me, I apologize. That was, oh. So Pamela, what kind of talents or skill sets do employers look for?
Yeah, so students are definitely combining their sense of compassion with the skill to help vulnerable people, deal with issues such as addictions and abuse. With the program, students do prepare for a rewarding, challenging career, as we can hear, from what Jamie is talking about, with a wide range of employment opportunities. So, skilled professionals are needed in many different areas, including mental health, homelessness, addictions, women's support services, harm reduction, and a lot more, as we're learning right now as well. So yeah, so just, a sense of compassion, I think, is something that is a good key quality for
Awesome.
sure.
Okay, well, let's keep that ball rolling. So, Jamie, can you let us know what the Native Counselling Services of Alberta do?
So they operate my site, Stan Daniels Healing Center, as well as Buffalo Stage Wellness House, which oversees Indigenous offenders. Apart from that, they also have court workers that work in the Indigenous court, and that's across Canada, across Alberta. They also have housing workers. They have a housing initiative called Tapway House downtown to assist with affordable housing for people that are coming from incarceration as well as homelessness. And they are working on a initiative for housing homeless as well. So they try to assist in a lot of different areas, and we're seeing a lot of positive growth from that. So yeah.
So, over and above that, what's so special about them, about the Native Counselling Services of Alberta?
So we work with people from a traditional healing side of things. So we work with traditional teachings from elders in regards to really assisting the Indigenous population that is homeless or within corrections, and so that they can have a more traditional way of going through whatever it is they are, whether it's homelessness or going through the justice system.
Nice. I will ask that as we move through this, if you do have any questions that you don't want to answer or ask in the session here when we break for Q&A, go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and we'll answer them in that Q&A portion, so that we have those ready as well. So, but I do want to ask a couple more questions, if that's okay. We do have some education portions there. How, maybe I'll ask Pam this one. Pam, how's your education going to help you within your job?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So alongside the Addictions and Community Service Worker 11-month diploma that you would receive, there's 3 additional certifications as well on top of that. So you would have your nonviolent crisis intervention, suicide intervention skills training, as well as your first aid and CPR. The other thing about our program as well, the Canadian Addictions Counselor Certification Federation, which is also known as the CACCF, is a Canadian certification board for alcohol and drug counselors. So the CACCF actually offers an internationally recognized and respected certification. The exam for which can only be taken after formal training has been completed alongside significant levels of documented work experience in the actual profession. So graduates of this Addictions and Community Service Worker program will also meet the formal training component of the requirements necessary in order to apply for the CACCF as well.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's a lot.
And it is a lot.
Of those, and actually most of those come through our program. So that's really great. It's a good thing that you mentioned that Counselor Certification Federation, because that CACCF is really great. You need to apply for that, and then leads you to more. So that's awesome.
Mhm.
So I just want to flip back here, ask Jamie, what's a typical day for you? What's a typical day like for you at your job? Not in every, not a, not that you go to the gym or whatever, but what is a daily life in the, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. What do you do on a daily basis?
So every day is a little bit different. Not every day is the same. Um, I could meet with the director, who is essentially like our warden at our site, and discuss some case management in regards to the gentleman that I oversee. Talk to my parole officer supervisor about similar work. Meet with some of my residents and my clients, and discuss different parts of their cases, where they're at, where they need to be, things that they may need to work on, and then just a lot of report writing. As a parole officer, we have to do a lot of writing of reports in regards to moving these gentlemen forward, as well as where they're at, so that we can get approvals as well as updates to the parole board in regards to how they're progressing.
Okay. Well, I don't like the report writing, that's for sure. But I think that's in every job, is administration. So that's okay. So, okay. So then what's the best part of your job? And I know you're not going to say that it's report writing. So what's the best part? And I guess what's the hardest to deal with?
Report writing is probably, the best part is probably the reward of seeing the positive progress of my clients. I get to see them change from being someone who's institutionalized and has an institutionalized way of thinking, to progressing to coming back to humanity, and having a more positive outlook, not just on themselves, but on life and how to progress forward. And just seeing that progress, and being a part of assisting them with that. The worst part, or the hard parts, are seeing those same people not live up to the potential that they could reach. And sometimes they feel like they're ready to be at a healing lodge, and it takes a lot of work for them to get there. There's a lot of programs that they have to go through. There's a lot of approvals. They have to write a letter to us to request to be there. And it's a lot of work, but once they get there, they sometimes aren't really ready to be there mentally, and may go back to old addiction habits, and go back to old coping mechanisms, and unfortunately push themselves back into an institution setting instead of our facility. It's unfortunate, but it is something that does happen, and it is disheartening to see.
Okay. Well, I mean, I love your passion for the good stuff. For the bad stuff, well, it's good for all, actually, because it's nice to see that you're able to be there when they're having good moments, and then when they're needing that extra support. So that's awesome. So how do you then, you talked a little bit about the Indigenous roots already, but how are you going to incorporate some of those roots of the offenders on their own healing paths? How do you get that?
So all of our clients, they are to participate in Indigenous ceremonies. We do morning smudges daily with everybody. We all stand in a circle and smudge, treat everybody as one. They will meet with the elder to do one-on-one sessions for guidance, to understand kind of where they were and how to move forward. There will be sharing circles that the guys participate in, sweats. There are sun dances that they'll participate in. They get a large amount of ceremonies that they get to participate in outside of our site. So it allows them to get back to their traditional roots. And we've had a lot of individuals, or at least I've had a lot of guys talk to me about how the traditional side of things has really saved them from continuing down the bad roads of abusing substances and just trying to go back into the streets and sell drugs or get into more trouble. And some of them have even equated ceremony to saving their lives. So we have a lot to thank for that.
No, that's awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone, for that frequently asked questions round. I do want to slip back in and have Pam join us again. I just wanted to ask a couple more questions for our Assistant Director of Admissions. So what do I need as a student to register for the program? How long is it? Let me know.
Perfect. Okay. So a quick program breakdown here. So the program itself is 44 weeks, which includes 720 hours of the theory portion of it and 300 hours of practicum. So in together, 1,020 hours, which works out to be the 11-month program. So there's always two ways that we're able to submit an application for acceptance into the program. One will always be a standard admission, which is an Alberta high school diploma or equivalent, verified by a transcript. And the other is a mature student, which is an entrance assessment that will assess the admission requirements. We do offer this program in 3 different modalities. So we could offer it online, on campus, or a combination also of both of these. What I usually recommend working in the admissions department here is, for more information, I recommend booking a one-on-one information session with an admissions representative here and see what your potential options are here at CDI College for this particular program or any of the other programs as well.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much for that, Pam. That is the program breakdown. So if you have any other questions, you can definitely reach out. However, right now, looking at the time, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions, either for Pam in our admissions or for our special guest, Jamie, today. I'm going to I'm just going to ask that hands go up, as well as I will take one in person and then we'll take one off of the chat. So that way it's a little bit even. So does anybody have any verbal questions that they'd like to ask? Oh, or just everybody in the chat now?
I think everybody's in the chat here.
Okay. Pam, I can't see the chat. Can you please ask the questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's asking here, is CDI an accredited college? Do you have job placement? Is there monthly funding available to take the course? So I can answer this one here. We are fully licensed through the Ministry of Education here to teach our addictions and community service worker program, plus all the other diplomas we specialize in. In terms of job placement, we do have a career services department. The career services department is absolutely wonderful. We have 2 people inside of the career services department. One is the practicum coordinator, the other one is the employment specialist. So with this particular program, there's 300 hours that is built inside of the program, and the career services department actually helps you set up that 300 hours. You know, in maybe like your top 5 places if you wanted to even, but they'll still help you with that, with the practicum part. And they actually reach out to you prior to even the end of that program. So they'll give you an orientation to your practicum and what that's going to look like. The employment specialist helps with more like the resume building, the interview skills, and they're there to transition you from student of the diploma that you choose into the workforce. Okay. In terms of funding, that's where the student finance department's going to come through. So with the finance department, they'll be able to talk to you a little bit more about what are those different options in terms of funding for everybody. It is based on everybody's individual, you know, needs and necessities and everything else like that. So again, that's where the information session with the advisor would be very handy. That way you can meet also with the student finance department. Do you need a criminal clearance to obtain a CACCF? Vivian?
The answer, I do not have an answer for that. Donna?
Okay. Oh yes, Donna's online
Yes.
too.
as one of our big minds here, the answer is yes. And we can't hear you. So that's, I'm sorry. No. But is the answer yes or no? Yeah, we hear you. We can hear you now.
That was me.
No.
No.
No. So.
All right.
Sorry, Donna. You can keep working on it, but is the answer
Okay.
yes or no? I say yes.
So I can come back to that one. That's
Okay.
and so in terms of the average pay for someone who's completed his course, so with this with here, there's always two websites that I direct my students to. One is alice.alberta.ca and the other one is jobbank.ca. Alice.alberta.ca is our provincial website, Jobbank being our federal, and they're really, really good. What I always do is I recommend a student to go in and take a look at the different job opportunities, and not only the job opportunities, but the job description will actually what that entails, and if you can see yourself doing that, right? And then from there you can kind of take a look and see what those medium wages look like. If you were to suggest something the students should know about Indigenous community with regards to myths or stigma, what would that be? That'd be a really good question.
That's a great question for Jamie.
Yes.
So let's say that again. If you were to suggest something the students should know about the Indigenous community with regards to myths or stigma, what would it be?
It's a tough question to answer, to be honest, because it depends on the type of myth or stigma that we're talking about. You could posit that the question of people saying that all Indigenous people are into addictions and substances, and that's really, really not the case. A lot of the Indigenous population is very traditionally based and based into ceremony, and a lot of our gentlemen are very traditional in regards to how they're moving forward with their traditions. And when it comes to culture, they put that to the forefront of how they're proceeding in their lives. They ask the elder, I'm dating this girl and this is how things are going. They'll ask for guidance on how to move forward. They ask for guidance on all things in regards to their life so that they can move forward. And I know a lot of past staff had the underlying thought that all of our Indigenous offenders were going to be extra violent and difficult to deal with, and they're just like everybody else. Quite honestly, they're not complicated to deal with. They're quite kind and caring and thoughtful. So it depends, I guess, in regards to what we're discussing in regards to myths and stigma, but there could be myths and stigmas for anybody in the community, to be fairly honest. So.
Okay. So I know that Tiffany had asked a question about do you need a criminal clearance to obtain a CACCF? You do not need to have clearance. All right, so that was the answer to that question.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Donna.
Yes, thank you, Donna.
All righty. So do you have a partnership? Do you have partnerships with Elizabeth Fry Society? Does the Native Counselling Council have?
Not that I'm aware of. We do liaise with a lot of different agencies and organizations. So I'm certain that there's somebody within our organization that has ties or connections to Elizabeth Fry, but we don't work with Elizabeth Fry specifically. We work with Corrections Canada and with under their guidance and rules and conditions in regards to how we do our work. We, as a Section 81 Healing Lodge, are permitted some leeway in regards to how we deal with our gentlemen. So it's a more traditional based way and not as institutionalized. We still have to employ some institutional style security and things of that ilk. But as regards to your question, Elizabeth Fry, we don't really have a connection there.
Okay, no, that's awesome.
There is.
Oops.
Sorry, go ahead, Vivian.
Oh, I was just going to ask to see if anybody had any other questions. We did have a hand up earlier. I think maybe it was a student named Brenda. Is that you? Oh, okay. Do you still have your question, or was it kind of answered?
Oh, I do. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
One for Jamie. I've already got my ACSW and I'm working on my child and youth services, and I'm wondering if there's room for practicums where you are.
So we do practicums in the primary worker unit. So in the living unit, security side of things. What you have is great, and it does talk to a lot of the work that we kind of do aside from the security side in the primary worker job. It would probably be a benefit, but it's not exactly a necessity.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me what the actual name of your organization is so that I can actually apply for it?
Sure. So you can look up online Native Counselling Services of Alberta. So that's who operates Stan Daniels Healing Center and Buffalo Sage Wellness House. And there is a careers section there that you can look under in regards to applications. If not, you can probably connect with Vivian to get my email and send it directly to me.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much.
Awesome. I would, Brenda, I would suggest connecting with your coordinator. We'll give all the information here, and we'll send out that to anybody that is requesting it, and then we'll have that there. So
yes,
that way we're not all that way we're all not contacting me. So and then if there's not that I don't welcome it, it's fine. But then any other questions we could pass on, and you can speak directly to him.
Thank you, Vivian. Hit me with your best shot.
Sounds good. All right. So I think there's another, I can kind of see the chat now. I've peeked over. So how does practicum placement work? So that I can definitely answer. So so as Pamela has mentioned, we will start, your career services coordinators will reach out to you probably about 3 to 5 months in advance. We start talking about it in the classroom all the way through, starting at orientation. And then about 3 to 5 months before, we will invite you to a practicum orientation where we will talk about all the nuts and bolts that make up the orientation, or the practicum, excuse me, and everything that you'll need, right down to the paperwork and prerequisites, all that stuff. So then what we'll do is you'll work one-on-one with your career services coordinator and offer up a few places where you might like to complete your practicum at. And we will definitely do our best to get you there, but mostly we will help you tweak your resume and make sure that you know where kind of what part of the industry you want to be in. So once everything is set, we'll get all the paperwork done, make sure you have all the interviews and everything set up, and then you just complete your practicum, and hopefully we're celebrating you at the end of your 300 hours. So that's pretty much how practicum placements work in a nutshell. There's way more information than that, but we do run a practicum orientation every month for our students a few months before they go out, so that they have everything they need for that. Okay. Pam, I can't see the next question. I think it was.
Let's see here. It says, what does an average week in the Addictions and Community Service Worker program at CDI College look like?
Ooh, Donna? Oh, Donna's not. She has no idea.
So, I can tell you that it's 4 hours a day. So depending on which classes that you're wanting to take and your mobile, if it's a combined delivery online on campus. But our instructor Donna would be able to answer that a little bit better. Her speaker's not working though. So 4 hours a day, obviously some homeworks in terms of that. The program is taught in a few different campuses. We have 4 campuses here in Edmonton, where I'm located, and sorry, go ahead.
So we do have, so it is lecture based. So,
Yes.
and then it's followed by group conversations. So, so we've definitely talk about many different topics. So, and then there's lots of field trips that come out. They go into the community. So there's a lot of different. Things that are done, but mostly, the lectures there, and it's a lot of good group conversation. We do certificates in there, so you will have your first aid and your nonviolent, and a couple other things. So you've got a few things there that will kind of fill up good time and get things kind of set for your day or your week.
So the classes it depends on what's working for you and what your schedule is. So we offer the program completely online, which is distance. We also have a program the program is also taught on campus, and then we have a combination which is online as well as in person. So it depends on what your structure what your personal needs are. In terms of a laptop, yes, you do need a laptop for this program. And I think that was it. I think there was a question for Jamie here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. So is it possible for a field trip? Yeah, we can do a site tour for sure to show everybody that's in class what it is my site does, as well as meet with some of the residents that reside there, and overall see the type of work that we do. It's one thing for me to talk at you and tell you some of the things that we do, but it's definitely a different world altogether for you to see it.
Yes, so I can attest to this. So my fellow coordinator and I did go and meet Jamie this summer, and he gave us a fantastic tour of this huge place. So we were able to see exactly where the residents eat, live, and play. Is that?
Yep. They have a gym that they can exercise in. There's a ceremony room. There's a program room for them to participate in programs, and areas for them to spend time with the other residents and learn from. So it's a large facility, and my entire life living here in Edmonton, I had no idea what that facility was until I started working there. So
yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, and thanks for that. That was a really great tour, actually. So, so let's, yeah, if you want to do that, maybe check in with your instructor or whomever sent you this invitation, and hopefully we can get a nice group and we can do a field trip maybe to that when we can coordinate a little bit better, so we don't have individual drop-ins, if that's okay. Alrighty. So I'm just checking the time here. We've got about 10 minutes left. I know people have to go back to work or that. But so there was some questions. I think we missed a question. There are a lot of colleges out there. Why should CDI be my choice? Is there red flags I should be aware of when looking into other programs?
So I would like to say that all education is good. It just depends on what works for you the best, okay? I have been working in admissions for 5 years, and I think one of the biggest differences that I find with CDI College and a lot of other colleges is our career services department. Our career services department, with the help that you receive from them, the practicum coordinator, the employment specialist, is pretty much next to none from what I can see from the others. And I actually went to a private college myself. So again, all education is good. It just depends on what works for you. And, our instructors are amazing. They have years of industry experience. You are learning from top-notch professionals. So, um, you know, again, I would, love to sit down with you and see if it would be a right fit for you.
Awesome. I did see another question in there now that I can see the chat, kind of. How do I get enrolled in CACCF? And can that be done on my own time? Thanks, Brenda. Yes, absolutely. So there is a whole entire website dedicated to this for information. I myself wasn't sure about it a few months ago and just Googled it myself. So it's pretty neat, all the information you can find, but you can definitely find out how to get into everything there. So definitely check that link out and we can get rolling from there. And I believe there was another question. Was there another question, Pam?
I'm just looking here.
Sorry, everybody. Does CDI still provide tablets?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not too sure if we ever did. I just know as of right now, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And then I did see the CACCF is free if you are a student. So, and you do need a laptop, or do you need a laptop for this course?
Yes, I answered that. Yes, you do.
Okay. All righty. We've got all those questions up to date now, so we're all good there. So I do want to flip over and get Pam to talk about how you're going to connect with the college and how you're going to apply. So maybe I will, if my computer will wake up from its slumber.
All right, perfect. So you can connect with us many different ways. We're on Facebook, Instagram, also on Twitter. You are also able to go directly to our website and put in an inquiry there, and then we will set you up with an advisor in the nearest location that you are, and we can set up one of those information sessions, either in person or virtually, and go through the program with you a little bit more detail.
All righty, perfect. So we are coming now to our close. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today, and thank you to our special guest, Jamie Tweedy, from the Native Counselling Services of Alberta, for coming to talk about the industry and everything to do with how their world works. We hope that you've received a lot of information about the program. Remember, as Pam said, if you have additional questions on registration for the program, that you can stay on if you like, or you can connect with her after this session, and hopefully we can get you some more information that you didn't receive here today. So for those of you that are choosing to make a decision to come on board or not, hopefully we do see you as part of campus life soon. Those of you that are here, thanks for choosing CDI College, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side at graduation. So have a great rest of your day, everybody, and thank you for coming today.